I wanted to read this today, and it helps people that don't understand what's the difference between the narcissist and somebody that's just got a big ego. Okay. Now, we have a very prominent narcissist that everyone has seen. Okay. And so, as I go through this, it helps to understand their psychology, what's going on with this type of person. And there's a huge difference. A lot of people, you see them all around the net throwing out the narcissist. This is a narcissist, that's a well, there's a difference in having a big ego, which a lot of times they think somebody that's got a big ego and is just kind of obnoxious, they call them a narcissist. But that's not a narcissist. A narcissist is extremely toxic. Okay, and usually the narcissist has other things going on, other psychological problems, whether it's paranoia, borderline or psychopath, or they have other things going on as well as the narcissism. So it's a whole bag of drama that's there. But let's go ahead and look, and as I go through this, you'll really be able to see it when we have, of course, 45, the orange buffoon. You'll recognize him in this, just easily to be recognized. He is a classic example of the narcissist. Okay, so how narcissists play the victim and twist the story. People with strong narcissistic tendencies are known for certain destructive social patterns. Anybody who has had the misfortune of dealing with these types of people may notice that whenever there's a conflict or any type of disagreement, they tend to act in an abhorrent yet predictable manner. In this article, we will explore the common behaviors and scenarios where narcissistic and otherwise toxic people play the victim and manipulate the narrative. So why do people with narcissistic personality play the victim? Okay, and you'll notice they either go on the attack or they're playing the victim. Okay, so these are the things they bounce back and forth between. They'll be a major attacker, but yet they're continually playing the victim. So let's go ahead and go through this. Delusion and denial. Narcissists can't deal with reality because it contradicts what they want to be true, and this creates painful emotions. As a coping mechanism, they learn to delude themselves that what is real is actually not real, and however they see the situation is real even though it isn't. So they gaslight. They gaslight others, and they wind up gaslighting themselves, okay? Sometimes they truly see it that way. Other times it's just a story they tell themselves and others, and often the longer you tell a story, the more you believe it, even if initially you know it's not true, and so eventually they may start truly believing it. Either way, the first step is to create a version of events that's an alternative to what actually happened or what's going on. Okay, so they start gaslighting. They gaslight others and wind up gaslighting themselves many times. We go on to the lying. While delusion is more of an internal process, lying and denial is often in the context of other people. So let's learn more about this. Regular people deal with their problems by themselves internally, or they discuss it in a very private setting, in therapy, or among very close, healthy people. Narcissists don't have people like that in their life and are not really interested in actually resolving anything or being introspective. Narcissists simply want to know that they are in the right. For that, they need other people's false validation to regulate their shaky self-esteem. They need to find people who would agree with them. And in order for others to agree with them, these other people either need to be terribly unhealthy and unable to recognize their toxic tendencies, or the narcissist needs to lie and present a different story than what is actually true. Here, they tend to flip the roles where they're good, noble, caring, virtuous, and the other person is evil, cruel, selfish, immoral, which brings us to the next point, projection. The most common way narcissists create alternative narratives is by projecting. We've talked about narcissistic projection in a separate article, but to extract the main point, narcissists love to project. If they say that the other person is jealous of them, then you know that the narcissist is jealous. If they say the other person was cruel to them, then you know that the narcissist was cruel to the other person. If they say that the other person was lying and cheating, then you know they were lying and cheating. Yes, sometimes it's not as simple, and there could be unhealthy behavior on both sides, but more often than not, whatever the narcissist is presenting the other person as is as much more accurate description of the narcissist themselves. Whatever the case may be, the mechanism here is that the narcissist's mind, they try to attribute their own unhealthy behavior, perspective, and character traits to the other person because it shifts attention and responsibility from them. And if the other person is all these bad things, then it can't be that I am these things, thinks the narcissist, the good guy here. Okay? So, this is what they do. Whatever it is, drama that they're putting onto another person is what's going on in their life that they don't want to look at, and they want to try to convince others it's this horrible person over here that's, So, framing the story. Narcissists also like to truncate the story and present only the bit where the aggrieved party reacted to their toxic behavior, framing it as if that's where the story started. Or they twist it by using euphemisms and deceiving language. I'm not controlling, I just want what's best for you. For example, if a narcissist dislikes you and tries to bully you, but you stand up for yourself, they will frame it as if they are the ones being the victim of bullying. In their narrative, they were just doing their thing or just joking around, or you started being mean to them. Meanwhile, they simply left out what happened beforehand when they bullied you, so actually your being mean to them is a normal response to their toxic behavior. Here, by leaving out or downplaying their aggression, they simply frame you engaging in self-defense as a vile aggression against them. And then they think, how dare you react or challenge me? You're so sensitive and unfair. That's why you deserve everything that's coming. So they justify their actions. Okay? They justify what they're doing. And you have no right to respond to anything because then you're in attack mode against them, okay? When they're the ones that are doing the attacking, okay? So you're not allowed to stand up to defend yourself in any way, shape, or form with these toxic narcissists. So let's continue on. Slander, triangulation, character assassination. There are several ways how the narcissist employs their lies and projections, and the goal is always to turn others against you in hopes that they won't find and figure out the truth. One of the ways to do that is triangulation. In psychology, it means controlling and manipulating communication between two parties. It's related to gossiping, smearing, and slandering, where the narcissist spreads false information around. A more extreme version of all that is character assassination, where the lies are much more severe and damaging. Okay? Yeah, there is no low they will not stoop to. Okay? So closer analysis. If you actually examine the narcissist's narrative, you quickly notice that they are full of crap, okay? For instance, if you examine a narcissistic parent who tells others how you hurt them and say mean things, you quickly notice that they are the ones who constantly demean, disrespect, and manipulate the adult child. And when the child becomes more assertive and stops giving them resources, time, money, attention, they see it as aggression because they feel entitled. Okay? If you examine further, you notice that not only the narcissistic parent was initially disrespecting the adult child's boundaries, but it's also retaliating now by manipulating others into siding with them. The same is the case of the professional environments or personal relationships. The narcissistic party does something toxic. The aggrieved party reacts and stops the perpetrator or distances from them, and then the narcissist retaliates by trying to shape the social opinion into a narrative where they are the good, righteous party. Sometimes they even convince others to bully and intimidate their target further. These methods often rely on the target not having a support system or being isolated. This increases the narcissist's chances of others siding with them and not the victim. So here comes the summary and closing words. Narcissists can't accept that they may not be the wonderful people. They are also incredibly fragile when facing an idea that perhaps they did something wrong, especially if others can see it. Therefore, if there is a conflict, they will do anything and everything to maintain a fantasy that they are always good, all the while perceiving the other party as what? Evil. Okay? Not only that, they need other people's validation that their delusion is true. To achieve that, they create preposterous, slanderous, manipulative narratives where all of that is true and they try to convince others of it. And since many people are unwilling and unable to look at the truth behind it, the narcissist can find that validation they so desperately crave and even act out their revenge fantasies. Often the reason is as simple as having to see others do well, hating to see others do well. Okay, they just can't stand it. If you're doing well, this pushes their buttons, okay? Because they themselves are miserable. As a result, sometimes people get seriously hurt socially, financially, emotionally, or even physically. But the narcissist doesn't care about that. In fact, they're often glad because their narrative, the target deserves it by being evil, so whatever happens is justified. Of course, not everyone can see the truth when listening to the narcissist, but it's quite evident looking from the outside, or if you have enough psychological insight and experience. And if you are wise and educated enough on it, you can avoid getting into these situations, minimize the damage, sever your ties with them more quickly, and protect yourself better. Okay? So, yeah, there's a vast difference between someone having a large ego and being a toxic narcissist, because the toxic narcissist is out for revenge at any cost. They don't care what they put out, how they put out, but once in a while they may slip and actually tell a little bit of truth in their narratives. Okay? So I'm going to leave this here. The joy of the toxic narcissist. Thanks for tuning in. How many of these traits did you see in 45? I'll see you online.